call the July 10th, 2017 Exeter Town Council meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and drink oil.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask if you remain standing. Mike has a few words.
I could also ask for those in attendance to give a moment of silence to two of our residents who have recently passed away. One of them is Estelle Brown. If you don't know Estelle, I've never met her. She was the wife of Richard Brown, our town sergeant, who's been a town sergeant for many years. They were married for 61 years. She was the mother of 5 children, several grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And her passions in life was she was a great Patriots fan, NASCAR fan. She loved to watch the birds, and she spent a lot of time with her dog, Butterscotch. The second unfortunate passing we had in town was Sarah Balmforth. Sarah ran the Wildflower Farm in town. I believe it was in town, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. And she was a graduate of URI, but she also attended EWG schools and was very active in 4-H. So if we could just give a moment of silence for the two of them, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The clerk called roll call, please.
Kevin McGovern is absent this evening. Peter Patterson.
Here.
Cal Ellis.
Here.
Frank Ma.
Present?
And Ray Morrison.
Here.
Next up is public comment. We have 2 individuals signed up. The first one is Earl Adams.
Gentlemen, my name is Earl Adams. I'm a resident of Exeter, 55 Glen Rock Road in Exeter, and I own property located on the Gardner Road side of the Richmond-Exeter town line. I've come to you today based on recent construction that has taken place at the termination of Gardner Road, which started around June 12th, has gone on for the last 4 weeks, and went in a southerly direction till it connected up to the southerly end of Johnny King Trail or Gardner Road. My concerns are that this construction went on with absolutely no plans, no town surveys, no location of property lines, no water calculations for drainage, no consideration of where the drainage was going or how much stormwater drainage was needed. My family has owned the land on the entire easterly side of what was excavated for at least the last 60 years, since the early 1960s, so just short of 60 years. My family has also owned all the land on the Richmond side of that for a period of 30 or 40 years. In our knowledge of my family, 4 generations, this road that was constructed never had an easement, has not been open for any type of travel since 1800 or before. I've researched the deeds. I met and I called each of you, with the exception of Frank, left messages. We had communication with Mr. Maruzak through my attorney about what was going on. We requested a record request with the town clerk for surveys, for town line locations, for anything to do with this project. And the only thing that was given back to me was communication between Richmond and Exeter. I possess a survey of over 16,900 feet of the entire town line. I possess the documentation where the town bounds are set for both sides, both the north and the south. Yet, the highway director appeared to follow what was a washout that has way water has drained for over 200 years, going around trees, well off of any stone walls, 30, 40, 50 feet of the surveyed Richmond side. My side of the road is also surveyed, but not recorded, by a registered land surveyor. All the soil that was excavated, 4 weeks, was trucked by multiple trucks to the town farm. My request today is, number one, how did this commence without any knowledge of whether or not there is an easement for a road, if it ever existed? And I have knowledge that it did not, going back to 1800. At one point, the lands on both sides of the road with common ownership was connected, both in Richmond and in Exeter. My question also is, how do we determine where the water's going to flow and how it's going to affect the Glen Rock Brook to the south? Where did all the soil go that was excavated out of that area? I believe it's all been stored at the Exeter Highway Garage property on South Road. And I would like to see that, if it has been excavated inappropriately, returned to the rightful owner. I would like to see a cease and desist on this construction immediately until the survey of the town line has been completed, either by the town or by myself, which at this point I have requested and ordered a land surveyor that is licensed and registered in Exeter and in Rhode Island to locate that exact town line. Like I said, it appears that somebody started where the Gardner Road terminated and just took a path through the woods and followed a drainage swale, or the drainage of the entire northern section of both Hog House Hill Road and Gardner Road, until it connected up with a paved point further south. There is no knowledge, as I know, by anybody in this town as to where those bounds are, where the town bounds are, where the property lines are for either Richmond or Exeter. Yet, Richmond is surveyed, I have copies of that. Exeter is surveyed, I personally have copies of that. But when asked, nothing was produced. I met with the highway director and a member of council, Ray Morris, who very graciously met me there. I expressed my concerns, I asked questions, and the highway director could not answer one single question nor give me any eye contact. As the construction went on, it went on for 4 solid weeks. So a tremendous amount of soil has been excavated. We don't know if that soil is from an easement, from a road, or whether it was taken off of private property. We don't know where the water's going. In these quick rainstorms that we've had of 1/4 of an inch or 0.66 of an inch, we've had tremendous washouts already through that area that has washed the soil down into the southern section. Where the storm water goes, whether it ends up in the Glen Rock Brook or in the Queens River Aquifer or any of the Queens River or the Glen Rock Reservoir, nobody has determined. So at this point, respectfully, I'm asking that the town cease from all construction of any type along this area. And again, our property abuts 100% the easterly side of where this construction went on. There's no other property owner. The entire opposite side of the street is all common land for Camelot Estates. There are no driveways with the exception of one. There's no need for access either on the left or the right. We don't believe, and we have no knowledge through our research, that this area was ever traveled since prior to 1800. Thank you very much.
Next is Liz Hassinger.
Hi, I'm also an Exeter resident, owner of land at 295 Gardner Road, and my only thing I beg to differ with you is that I'm also a landowner on that stretch of road. So the property that I bought in 2006, I bought specifically because of the fact that it had access to both the south end of Gardner Road and the north end, because I had 2 driveways that go in the butt, you know, like a opposite horseshoe. And so I could access my property from the south and also from the north. I paid a lot of extra money for that property just for that feature, because I can exit, or always could exit, into Camelot Estates through King Arthur Drive. But the land in front of my house was always just a trail, as long as I've been there and the previous owners who built the house. It was not actually a road, it was just a walking trail. And since I moved in, there was rumor that someday the town was gonna put in a road through there, and I was always told, well, don't worry about it, it's never gonna happen. Last year, the town did pave the south end of Gardner Road, and I attended meetings in Exeter and in West Greenwich, and at that point, the plan that we were told as residents was, we just have the money to pave the south part of the road, that's all we're gonna do right now. There's been much talk about whether the concern that was voiced was that there was a problem with the access for emergency vehicles to the south end of Gardner Road. That whenever there was an emergency there, there was a risk that the firefighters and emergency people couldn't get through. Well, we had neighbors that made the point that actually if the dispatch was correctly put out and with just a little bit of tweaking in the way the dispatches were made, that would not have been a problem. It wouldn't be a problem that firefighters and emergency crews were going the wrong way. It did continue to be a problem though, because that dispatch problem was never addressed. Also, there was an option of changing the name of the south part of the road. And people in the joint session that was held at at Richmond Town Hall, and it was like joint Exeter-Richmond session that was, I believe, just over a year ago. I don't remember the date. At that meeting, all the people that were in opposition, everybody that was there that was a resident was asked, would you, be willing to have the name of your road changed so that we could clear up this access for emergency? And everybody said yes. So, but that never got carried any further. So instead, the town of Exeter went ahead, and the road crew, I think the person who's in charge of that is the one who has just barreled right in there and done this. So the road got paved, that was nice. The south end of Gardner is paved, and it's a nice passable road at this point. It used to always wash out because of the drainage problems. And I went out there and talked to the guys working on it last summer, and I said, well, what about the rest of it? Are they gonna still put emergency access through? They were talking about paving the park right in front of my house to have emergency access and exit for the King Arthur Estates. And I was told by the members of the road crew then, don't worry about it, the town doesn't have any money to do the road. It'll be at least 2 years before that happens. So on June 15th, I walked out and I saw in front of my house on the end of the trail a sign that said, I'm reading it, notice number 18, tree and shrub pruning and or removal. It says hereby notified that as of this date, 5/26/17, that the intent to remove or prune the trees and shrubs to which this notice is attached in the immediate vicinity, blah, 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 is going to happen. And it was from the office of the tree warden, who I'd like to know who that is, of the town of Exeter. So, to my knowledge, they were going to trim some trees because there is a power line in that area. And I thought, oh, they're trimming the trees because they're going to have to get better access to the power line. The power company probably wants it down to take care of some trees. Next thing I know, a week later, there's all these road crews. I guess this sign was out a little before that date, but on this date I took the picture, so that's by the date they started construction. And they just completely barrel-assed, excuse my language, but that's the only word I know, they just went through that little walking trail that people used to walk their dogs on, and it wasn't a road, and they turned it into a road within 2-3 weeks. Now they have also brought in gravel and completely filled it in with gravel, and now it is a passable road. I sat on my front porch this morning and I watched 10 cars go by in an hour. I don't think there were any studies as to the use of this road. There's no markings that say that there's no through travel or no through trucking, or that it's emergency access only, which was the claim all along, that it would be emergency access only. So I come to you with a couple of requests. First of all, I agree with Mr. Adams that this whole thing was done without proper research, and I would like to see the town halt and block that road off until further research is done. Because it seems like despite our best efforts, the people who work in the emergency services feel that this is absolutely imperative, and the town agrees, and it goes forward, I would like to request that a gate be put up and that it be emergency access only. There's no reason in the world why the general public needs to be using that road at this time. Never was used before, does not have to be used now. Emergency access, I can understand. There are many places where there's emergency access, just like on Mail Road. There's that new development on Route 2 that's, I don't know what they're calling it, but there's an emergency access road onto Mail Road from that development. It's not a through road, there's a gate there. We can have the same thing. I was told once, oh, we can't have a gate because half the gate would be in Exeter and half would be in Richmond, and we just can't do that. Well, that's a bunch of BS. I don't believe that that's true. I think the two towns can agree. The town of Richmond has already put up signs on King Arthur Trail that say no through traffic and no trucks. And last, I just want to say that, you know, the people, and I did talk to Mr. McGovern, and he said to me, he goes, well, I asked, I can't think of the road crew guy's name, I'm sorry, but he said, I asked him, you know, is there gonna be any extra traffic? And he said no. And I said, well, what about the drainage? Well, I asked him if there'd be any problem with drainage, and he said no. And that's the extent of the research that has been done. But I have a writing from the Washington Post about something, this was reported on National Public Radio, about the problem with the traffic apps that exist on the internet, and that people are constantly finding ways to get places quicker, and that there's, all over the country, there's problems with side streets being used as thoroughfares, and it says, these great shortcuts used to spread by word of mouth, but now they spread like wildfire. It doesn't take long. I mean, this road's been open less than a week, and 10 cars went by in an hour this morning, so I do hope that you would do something to prevent this. And lastly, I'm glad that you mentioned Sarah Baumforth. I have been old and good friends with her parents, and it's tragic that people in Exeter can't walk down the street without fear of being hit by a car, and it's gonna happen on Gardner Road, mark my words. That road is, what they put through is a straight thoroughfare, and I saw the Richmond fire trucks go through yesterday at 35 miles an hour after a call. It wasn't for the call. It was after the call. I actually followed them down the road, and they were going 35 miles an hour. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be a real dangerous place.
Thanks, Liz.
Sorry.
Next up is acknowledgements and announcements. My stack here. Writing notes on. Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation is having the Eco Depot Saturday, July 29th, 2017, 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock at the town clerk's office right here, 675 Penrod Road. If you don't know, Eco Depot is a free service from the state for properly disposing of hazardous household waste. Let's see, household hazardous waste is anything labeled with a skull and crossbones, the words like toxic, poison, flammable, combustible. Examples include mercury devices, automotive fluids, fertilizers, pesticides, pool chemicals, and polishes. Household hazardous waste does not include electronic items such as televisions and computers. The following hazardous waste items are accepted: antifreeze, less than 10 gallons, batteries, compact fluorescent lights, fluorescent light tubes, motor oil filters, paint, and then they have sharps and needles. So that, once again, it's Saturday, July 29th, at 8 to 12, here at the town clerk's office. Next up is approval of the agenda order.
I'll move to approve the order.
Second, anybody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda. Anything from the rest of this one? We'll pull that, correct? If anybody want to pull any reports? Okay, communications. Let's start with Ray.
Number 47, that's all I have.
Frank?
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Cal?
17.
Yeah, anything else? Okay. And I don't have any to pull either. Anything else to pull out of the consent agenda? I guess, communications, we need a motion to accept.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented and take notes of notations of those communications that we will consider later.
Second,
Second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 7, vacancies and appointments. Nothing under personnel board members. Nothing under conservation commission. And nothing under economic development commission.
They continue to post.
Okay, resignations, any? No. Appointments? We had what, juvenile hearing board, we had one we were waiting on an interview.
Yeah, I emailed Frank Herrera, and, asked if they had an opportunity to interview her, and not yet.
Let's see, expiring terms, zoning board of review member Thomas McMillan, term expiring August 2017. Reynolds Charitable Trust Committee member Paul Ward Jr., term expiring July 2017. Reynolds Charitable Trust Committee member May Barrett, term expiring July 2017. Reynolds Charitable Trust Committee member Robert Anderson Jr., term expiring June 2017. So I guess we reach out to these people, see if they want to. We've already gotten one letter, and then I guess post it for, how would you normally post
For
it?
August.
Yes, so you need a motion to post? Next up is public hearings, and the first one is public entertainment license application, Lynn Hall, 53 Beacon Drive, North Kingston, Rhode Island, Boulder Dash Trail Run Obstacle Course on Saturday, August 5th, 2017, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Camp Canonicus, 54 Exeter Road, Exeter, Rhode Island. And need a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll move to open the public hearing on that application.
And anybody have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
No one has signed in the sign-in sheet.
Oh, was
Just
I
be
supposed
for
to?
or against, is the applicant here?
Oh, okay. No, I'm not signing in for or
Yeah,
against.
but you're here every year.
Okay.
So you
I
can explain
have
to
a
the
letter here
audience.
from Canonicus, they could not be here tonight, but they just wanted to make sure that they put in writing that they were comfortable with the event.
That they were what, please?
Comfortable having the event, holding the event. Can you read it? Camp
Stop.
Canonicus Camp and Conference Center has met with Lynn Hall in regards to Boulder Dash using our property to host the color run this August 5th. We have had discussions in relation to parking, use of facilities in general, and trails in particular, and timing of the event. We have come to consensus on all topics, are very comfortable with Boulder Dash using our facilities for this event. If there are any specific questions, please feel free to contact me, Matt Black, Facilities Manager.
Now, you wanna give the audience a brief description of what you do every year?
Yeah, we've held events, they were at Yahoo Ski for the last six years. We started in 2011 and went until 2016. In 2016, it was our last event at Yahoo. So we started to meet with Canonicus, and they,
Excuse me, could you come up front?
Sure.
I can't hear you.
want to start
Thank
over?
you, that's
Or-
fine.
Okay.
No, you can go right
Okay.
ahead. You've been here before,
Okay.
so.
So this is a change of venue for us, but it's also a change in size. In the past, we've had up to 2,000 participants at Yahoo. This is going to be more about 200 or 300 participants, much smaller. We're not going to be looking at alternative parking spaces and busing and things like that we've done in the past with Yahoo. It's a more of a family-friendly event. Still having some obstacles, but also doing color throwing and just more of a fun type
Yeah,
thing.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it should be. It should be.
You already answered my question, that was the thing parking, because I know we met last
Yes.
year down there at
Yes.
Yahoo about the parking there, so. Anybody else have any questions?
No.
Is it a fundraising event? I mean, I know you've spoken to us before.
Yeah, there is.
Need to be refreshed.
Yeah, there's a fundraising component. There's a nonprofit called Find Your Goal. It's actually something that I founded, which helps people overcome personal obstacles by using physical man-made obstacles in order to emulate that. So we do raise funds for that. The event itself is not a nonprofit because Boulder Dash is a for-profit entity, but we do raise money for a nonprofit.
And it's open to.
It's open to the public.
So,
There was actually the bus terminal over by the Exeter Mall had the color be bold on it. so we rent a little bit of space for advertising. But yeah, so it's open to the public, and like you said, August 5th. We will likely be done way before 5, but we wanted to make sure that, it was open.
I just know for the record that abutting property owners have been noticed. And Madam Clerk, we see no responses. We see no one here. No one is asked to speak, so apparently you're in everyone's good graces and your past performance, even, this is going to be smaller, so
Yes.
maybe even a bit more manageable for
Yes.
you and everyone else. So, good luck.
Thank you.
Any questions from Frank or Ray?
No.
Any questions from the audience? Motion to close
I'll
the
move
public.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
There's just one outstanding thing, is the fees for this certified mailings and advertising, which we spoke about, $124.70.
So that would be prior to the license being issued.
Yeah, I can check, I can check to do that.
Or you can come in and take care of it, and then you'll have your license. Have your license.
No, so now we need a motion to close the public.
I will move to close the public hearing.
Second? Okay, who wants to make a motion?
I'll move the application be granted for a Boulder Dash race on August 5th from 8 to 5.
Provided all fees are paid.
Well, yes, subject to fees being paid, yes.
Yeah, I'll second.
I'm wishing you well.
Thank you very much.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're all set?
Yes.
Okay, next up under public hearings, B, secondhand dealer's license application, Lisa Dougherty, applicant on behalf of Copart Connecticut Incorporated, 10 Industrial Drive, Exeter, Rhode Island. Need a motion to open public hearing.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Which one is that? Who's signed up to speak? Is anybody here, the applicant here?
I am here, Lisa
Stand
Doherty,
on up and introduce yourself.
Regional Manager for Copart. We have applied for a secondhand dealer's license to operate an auto auction at 10 Industrial Drive in Exeter.
That's it.
You are new owners, is that correct?
We are in process of, yes.
Process of
Yep,
acquiring.
correct.
Anybody have any questions? Pretty much the operation isn't changing.
Correct, it is not
What do
changing.
they do, like one auction a week?
We do one auction a week. The primary difference in the facility that's there now and how we operate is we don't have a live auction, everything we do is online.
So it will- no longer will be a live auction there anymore?
Correct. No, everything's done online, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a private auction.
It is a dealer.
Licensed
Dealer.
Licensed
I mean,
dealers, yes,
yeah.
correct.
Well, I'm just curious, because Exeter hosts this, I know it's been in place for years, and it's here because it's a convenient location, or, I'm just curious.
We were looking to open operations in Rhode Island. We currently have 6 facilities in New England, and Rhode Island would just add to that.
It must be up in northern Connecticut.
We're in Connecticut, 3 in Massachusetts, 1 in New Hampshire, 1 in Maine.
Londonderry, right?
No,
That was the big one there.
that's a public auction,
Okay.
yeah. In New Hampshire, we're in Candia. Yeah.
Any other questions from anybody?
No, but for the record, your budding property owners were noticed. And apparently, the current previous operation that you're acquiring
Yeah.
not seem to have created issues. No one seems to listen when you wants to speak.
Anybody from the audience wish to speak on
I'm a
this?
budding property owner, and there's been no problems. It's been a great facility so
Can
far.
you identify yourself for the clerk,
Mike-
please?
Mike Pryor.
Okay, thank you.
So it's all online.
It is all online.
Wow.
Yep, Copart.com. You can watch it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Does Lynn have anything to add?
All the cars I can't get.
I know, I'm all right.
She just paid her certified mailing and
No food.
These.
You don't need that. Yeah,
Advertising?
Yes.
we will need the, if you're gonna grant it, the motion to be subject to the old license being turned in
Okay.
prior to the new license being issued. and they're working on getting their sales tax perfect.
You know, you need to get the old license, correct?
Yep.
What did you say the website was again?
Copart.com, COPART.com.
And you said they're daily?
No, well, they're daily throughout the country,
I
but weekly in each location, once a week.
Is that the new trend?
Yeah,
Is it? It's interesting.
it really is.
So you still have cars at your location?
Correct, we have the cars there, yep. But no, it's not a live auction or that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's
The old
different.
days.
It's different.
It is
The one I'm
different.
used,
It is different.
you know? You see them on TV, you know, it's live.
Yeah, yeah.
Good business, we enjoy that. No, it's good. Yep, Danny, I'm sorry.
Okay. No one else has anything to say from the audience? I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we need a motion to grant license.
I'll make a,
Oh, I'm sorry, go for it.
I'll make a
No, no.
motion to submit the license, issue the license. Do you need me to list the business?
Contingent on getting the old license.
Contingent on-
transferred.
Okay, contingent upon the old license?
Being surrendered.
And I believe the applicant just gave you a check,
Yes.
so we're all set with that? Okay.
Anything else? That good?
Yes.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, Ray seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
Have
Appreciate
fun,
it.
have fun.
Thank you.
Very much. Good luck with your
Yeah.
new venture up
Thank you.
here.
Appreciate
Seems like
it.
you're experienced.
I'm gonna check out the website.
Absolutely, check it out. Without a doubt.
very much. Good luck.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Okay. One more public
That's
hearing.
right, man.
Next up is liquor license.
Sniper beer, okay, less.
Liquor license expansion application, Cheryl A. Zanella, applicant owner, Celestial Cafe, 567 South County Trail, Unit 101, Exeter, Rhode Island, to include an additional unit, number 102, an area measuring 735 square feet.
Move to open the public hearing.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. You're
Hi
up.
there. I am Charlotte Zanella, owner of Celestial Cafe. We are looking to just expand, make our dining room a little bit bigger. It's basically going to be used for private functions, the funerals that which I spoke to you guys about. It's just when we have 100 seats in the main dining room, and when we do funerals of over 35 or 40, they take up most of our seats. So with the space being available for many years, we decided to maybe expand the seating.
Thank you.
It's already made out, so it's not going to do you any good. So that's it.
Does anybody have any questions?
I was speaking to our clerk when she said you already use the space for storage.
That's
most of
correct.
it,
We
so
took-
you're-
We leased, in January, we leased 1,700 square feet, using it only for storage. I have an office for the first time in 15 years. And there's available space to add a kitchen if we wanted to later. I had talked to Lynn about it. She had said a non-open fire, but we just need the seats for right now, for the bereavements. We have dress rehearsal dinners and funerals at the same time, which half the dining room is happy and celebrating, and the other half is not. So it's just pretty basically, yeah, just expanding.
Well, 15 years is a very nice success record, so
Thank you.
I think we all wish
Chef
you,
Brandon is.
guys.
he's prepared some great meals.
Oh, my God.
Probably all of us, I know for me.
Are you the chef?
I'm the
She's
chef.
the chef
and-
owner. He and I are partners, so.
Yeah, you have, and I'm gonna talk about it. We love your food there.
Sure.
My wife and I like going, we take guests there. We
Yeah.
go to other restaurants too, but it's really, really great menu, and
Yeah,
you and I had chicken palm.
yeah.
Also,
Thank you.
my wife had the cod,
Oh, good.
The
Fried
new
good.
dish with the
Yeah.
rice, so.
Nice.
Well, we
Awesome.
pride
Yes,
ourselves
this one's
on
going down
local.
in flames.
82% of what we sell is locally grown.
Yeah, that's right.
When we started, we had no farms. We have, how many farms do we work with?
About 16 now. 16
That just
different
grows only for us, all the greens, everything, every vegetable in there comes locally
And
from.
you offer the 5-course dinner for the local farmers?
The farm dinner,
Yeah,
that was
farm
in
That's based on
2000.
the farmers,
Yeah.
so the farmers actually tell us what's gonna be on the menu a couple
Mhm.
weeks before. I make the menu based on what's being grown locally and what there's excess for the local farmers, you know?
Yes.
So-
You know, it's funny because the very first day I opened, we had white tablecloths. And Brandon and I were in the business for many years as fine dining. And a big man in farmer jeans walked in and said, "This place is never gonna make it unless you cater to the farmers." And I remember that thinking, oh God, that's not a very good hello. And 15 years later, the farmers are us, the fishermen, the
Good,
town.
good for you. It's great, it's good.
Basically, the room is just to spread out. Like I said, it's just
Sure.
too much in one area. If you've been there on a Sunday, the baby showers take 3 to 4 hours. They only eat for about 20 minutes. So there's 20 minutes of me working and then just the dining room's full. A lot of opening gifts and all that stuff. So this way they have their own area. We can still do our normal business.
And you need to come look at it because it's 100% local trees.
It's swamp cedar.
Local
Trees.
trees.
So
The
Dave
tables
from
are
Liberty
all
Cedar,
local
yeah.
trees. The walls have local trees.
All
This
the-
is in the new area that you're opening.
Yeah. Dave built them all. He milled all the wood from swamp
Liberty
cedar that had
cedar,
been knocked down in Sandy. So all the tops of the cedars broke off, so he took all the boards and it's a little gnarly, so you can't really build stuff with it, but it's beautiful to look at, so.
Exeter is not what it used to be.
It's not, we're cool now. Tilted Barn too.
And this is
Tilted
really,
Barn is
because I
unbelievable.
know Susan gave me that figure.
Anybody from the audience have anything to say?
I want to say that I love it when I've worked all day with not one bite of food and one break, and I can come down and get a really healthy meal. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We have great customers. You know, good food is one thing, but if you don't have the people coming back, it's
One of the
important.
only year-round restaurants too.
And
We don't have a
especially
season.
When there's I had a client who asked me, they had a burial at the Veterans Cemetery, and they're like,
Yeah.
where can we go for, get everyone afterwards? It was a perfect venue for, post
That's how it started.
cemetery.
The vet cemetery called Brandon and said, can you fit 22 people for lunch?
It's me and Ken were eating peanut butter and jelly.
Really
Okay.
have to-
I'll move to close
Okay,
the
hang
public.
on, we gotta make sure everything's, all
Well,
ducks in a row, thing, all set?
Yep.
Okay, Cal, go ahead.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now, somebody make a motion for a vote here?
No, Ray, go, Ray.
Go ahead, Ray.
Okay, I'll make a motion to grant the liquor license expansion application for Cheryl A. Zanella, applicant owner of Celestia Cafe on South County Trail, in the beautiful town of Exeter, Rhode Island, an additional unit number 102 in an area measuring 735 square feet.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank
Next
you.
question. Good luck.
Wish you luck.
Thank you.
Keep
Next.
going.
Okay, next up is new business. Personnel issues, labor negotiations. Office of the Town Treasurer awarding the bid audit services. Oh,
There you go.
perfect timing.
You're on. This is it.
You're up.
For our new business D, which is you. Just for,
I was just getting ready to read your letter. So, you're up, Maria.
Audit, right?
Yep.
Okay, so as we discussed on the, at the work session, I would like to recommend Maid Waterwick LLP to be awarded the audit bid for 2017 to 2019. I believe they'll be the most cost effective in the end.
We discussed this at the work session.
sure, I
Pretty thoroughly, so.
I can understand.
Pretty long work session too for us.
Yeah, it was.
And by the way, that night I ended up in the emergency room, so I'm glad I wasn't here because that wouldn't have been good. But that's not the reason I didn't come, but that's what happened later. But just for the record, I think we should note there were 3 bids and you've reviewed them. And
The state
this is the
has
firm that's provided us with excellent service, correct?
correct, and whatever we decide tonight has to go to the state to get approved. And there's a scoring system and there are reasons, so I believe that we can justify choosing.
Who's going to score it, the state or you?
Well, I score it, but by their criteria. They
Okay,
have a certain set of criteria.
good.
Okay, someone needs to make a motion.
I move that the 2017 to 19 order bid be awarded to Nadu Waterbeck LLP, as
Second.
recommended by the treasurer.
You have a second?
Second.
Great, okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Maria, for your due diligence.
You put it in.
Yeah.
There we go, then I forgot already. C, Department Administration State Planning Council / Metropolitan Planning Organization, 2017 update States Improvement Program application.
Steve, can you explain this?
So the new tip program?
Yeah.
The new
Yeah,
tip, yeah.
STIP.
Yeah, it's still the same tip, but the, basically what this is the same program they had for many, many years. They already have 18 to 20 jobs slated for Exeter.
So
From,
this is like where they
Bridge
do the
work.
guardrails?
no,
No.
no, that's a total different program. This is all roads and bridges. Built 90% of the work here are bridges. And repaving of Route 2 is one of the last jobs on their list for like 2022.
So it's all state roads?
It's all state work, all state roads.
All right.
Right, basically what they asked for is if there was nothing listed for Exeter, I would basically put together a very quick list of jobs for them to apply to. They already have 20+ jobs on our list. They're not gonna engage us with more jobs at this time. That's why it seemed,
Okay, so we don't need to do anything?
no, not this year. You may need 2 more years before you probably have to address it.
Okay. All right.
So there's no action required on that?
No action on this, on
It's
this.
just an update, so. D, petition of National Grid installation of underground facilities, Brookridge Drive. I can take it that they don't need our permission, I saw.
That actually, because it requires recording and a signature for the grid, is why it's on the agenda. It is only a utility cut, so it
Yeah,
didn't
they're just
require
extending
council
that- they're extending
action.
that transformer, I saw the print, so.
Correct, yes, it was just around the cul-de-sac in the shoulder. There wasn't a street opening permit required, so that kept it from the council. It was a regular utility cut.
We have to have a vote to give her permission to do.
It's for recording purposes,
Yeah, you have to sign it, so,
Right.
Oh, okay.
so you're gonna kind of maybe make a motion to accept the
Need a
Petition.
motion to sign it?
motions.
Well, I'll move to have our council vice president sign the National Grid petition.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the next one, item E, Exeter West Greenwich School District. Municipal solid waste cap request. What they put, a surplus?
That was the communications
Okay.
team that I wanted to pull, if you could talk about it.
I can. Back in December, this Rhode Island Resource Recovery sent a letter out. This is regional school districts only. When they did the update for the fees for trash throughout the state for the municipal tips, they failed to include regional school districts. So they left them with 0 cap. In the past, they had free cap from the Rhode Island Resource Recovery. But when the General Assembly, legislature, however that works, upstate, when they redid for the increase in the tip fees, they did not include regional school districts. So they sent out a letter stating that the school department could request cap from the municipals. That's where you stand now. Now, yes, we do have the cap available. Because we're down on tonnage this year, in the last year, by 350 or 400 ton over the prior year. So we do have the available cap. The difference is the $39.50 that's July 1st versus $67. That's what the school will pay if you don't issue cap to them. That's where
We don't give them our surplus.
it's still part of our total tippage cap that comes off the top. So if we get 1,973 tons, 200 would be applied to the school department. 200 from West Greenwich off of their cap would be applied if their council agrees.
Now, normally, if you have surplus, we sell it to the,
We still have that available. This is over and above the D. Lewis deal and what we're
Now, are they-
tipping
Is
currently.
the school district gonna reimburse us for that cap?
No,
They want it for zero.
they get to have the cap from the town. Because it would make no sense for them to pay us and pay resource recovery when they tip.
Do we have to give it to them?
Nothing says you have to give it to them. I'm saying we can save them the basic $30 a ton on their trash. That's the choices. It's unfortunate, they didn't get back to us sooner, so we had more time during all of our public hearings and all of our budget preparation to have more time to explain everything in more detail, but basically, we have nothing to do with it, other than we lose 200 of our cap. Okay, the school department gets
That's my feeling,
billed.
that's a separate entity up there, and we're already giving them 88% of our budget.
Well, I'm not gonna argue with you on that one.
So, my feeling is no. Because the other thing they did last year was when we had to budget extra money to cover for the transportation, and they got the money for the transportation, and they kept it and told us it was a surplus when it wasn't. The other school districts mailed the checks back to the towns, so.
But we got credit for it this year, I thought. Am I right, Maria? I mean,
Oh, we got it
Dan's
back,
right.
we got it back, they called it a surplus, but Charahoe and the other districts mailed the town the monies back, they kept it, this was when they did that, so. I mean, my feeling is they're getting enough of our tax dollars, if you had that extra 200 tons that a vendor could buy from us.
We could go that route with that 200 ton and
Yeah,
save our local taxpayers.
that's my opinion.
wait a minute, what did you just say? We could go that route with the 200?
I can
and
increase
save
the
our-
available tippage to vendors. The cap that we allow vendors to use at the reduced rate.
Yeah, the local vendors,
We have
I
a-
know what you mean,
Right,
yeah.
we have a program for local
Right.
vendors.
where they can buy our surplus.
And we don't know what West Greenwich is doing.
I haven't received the information. It seemed favorable when I talked to their director, but he passes on the information the same as I did, so.
And if it costs the district more, which it would, then isn't that
It should have
cost?
already been in their budget at this point, unfortunately,
Wow.
I mean, it should already be
This late in the-
budget, so.
process.
To answer, Carol's question,
Well, what was my question about whether they?
what it was West Greenwich doing?
Yes. Does this speak to it?
Looks like they signed for the 200. Rob Ross did.
Well, yeah, he sent that to both Exeter and West Greenwich to
But
request.
it says there.
Yes, but have they
The West
approved?
Greenwich didn't sign it yet, as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure when that council meeting is staged.
The school signed it.
Right, the school signed it.
The
Because they
school
have
signed it, but
to, right, they have to sign it and
So we
send it
don't know
to
what
the
was
town
signed.
to be signed and sent back.
Well, I believe it. No, anybody wanna see it? It's the school's all set to go.
Well, that's just the blank piece, it's a blank paper until the town
Until they-
authorizes.
I'll read it, I'll read what it's Town of Exeter from Robert Ross, municipal solid waste cap request to assist the Exeter West Greenwich Regional School District in lowering their annual disposal costs. The following request is made to and granted from the town participating in the district for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017, ending June 30th, 2018, so. I've already made my feelings clear, so.
You could always give them half of the, no, I know, listen.
And like I said, we're already giving them 89% of our money.
That's a good point.
But where are they going to get the money to pay for the thing?
Calvin, we can debate on that school district all night long.
That's not the point, I mean, they have to pay for it.
They have to pay for it, and they should have budgeted, so. Anybody wanna make a motion?
Go right ahead.
I'll tell you what, I'll make a motion to grant the request, and then if there's no second, the motion dies.
Okay,
And I hear no second.
no second. No second, going once, going twice, go on. Motion fails. No. That's it on that one. F, controlled substance and alcohol testing model policy for employees, commercial motor vehicle drivers. And it looks like what they're doing is they're just gonna get, the trust is just gonna get every single municipality on the same page.
They pretty much already do, so, yeah, this is just
So they don't have
updates.
39 different policies, so. Now, we need a vote on this, or
I don't require any, that's,
that's just for information?
But you've reviewed, you've reviewed.
Oh, God, I'm
Lynn,
very
we-
familiar
yeah,
with this.
we've all reviewed, and we're, and it's gonna be a good update, actually, for the town, because it eliminates
Well,
old
that's
paperwork.
the point.
So it's gonna get everybody up to speed, and there's a few language changes, Jim's reviewed it, there's no complaint that I'm aware of
Right.
from any of us. It's gonna clean everything up, and
So it's gonna serve the purpose it needs to serve.
Oh, yeah.
And there's I read through it and they say, in other words, if someone gets caught doing what they're doing, they don't get terminated, they get,
Usually it's one warning.
it's one, because I'm used to the military, get caught, you're out, regardless of how many years you have in, you know. Okay,
yeah, it
Yes,
applies to
similar.
the CDL drivers.
similar, yeah, I
That's what
understand,
it
yeah.
is.
No, it's similar with the way they do it, I understand when they do it. Definitely understand when they do it, but.
Now, municipalities
Yeah,
are exempt from
exactly,
this,
exactly.
not anymore, they used to be, weren't they?
Years ago,
They-
we
They
were
were exempt
exempt,
from having to get a CDL.
we were exempt from health cards.
Not anymore.
That changed,
That
about
changed, yeah.
4 years ago. And that was the last thing that the public works were exempt from. We're still exempt from a lot of the DOT regulations for hours driving,
Yeah.
things like that. That's totally different, but as far as all the health stuff, health cards, physicals, updating the licenses, annually, or every 4 years, how 5, whatever they do. Everything's still the same. Right.
Okay.
And there is random testing from time to time.
Oh, yeah,
I
all the time.
understand.
Has been for 25 years.
Well, I've heard there are employers that are having sometimes difficulty filling, not public works, having difficulty. I just heard this today from a business owner whom I'm very closely connected, who said some of her service vendors say they're having a hard time hiring because their people do not pass the test. Well, this is not a good thing, but, okay.
Okay.
So go ahead.
This has been ongoing for a few years.
We've had this policy, the old policy in place for a very long time.
God, you've had to have it at least 25 years.
It's been a long time. I can't remember the exact years, but it has been a long time.
And what this is just,
updates.
everybody's running off the same policy now, because the trust is the insurance company, so.
That's right.
We're good.
Well, if you're ready for a vote, I'll move to adopt the policy that's been submitted for our consideration tonight.
Well, you don't need a vote tonight, do you? This is just a draft. Oh, you do need a vote then?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's somewhere in here where there's a date.
Yeah, the one I got stamped draft on the paper, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I know,
Or
but I
model.
put the date in here, but yeah,
You do
I
want
think
a
you do a
motion,
motion to adopt.
Go ahead, Cal.
I did.
I'll second council motion.
Is that sufficient, my motion? Thank you.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, G, Department of Public Works request to extend bid microsurfacing crack sealing, seal coating ink. This is just crack sealing, correct?
That's all we currently have on our agenda,
How
yes.
much a year do you spend just on crack sealing?
40 to 50,000. That number will start to slide downward. We finished end of last year, we finished the last asphalt road that had never been crack sealed. And now we'll be basically starting over, as well as the roads that have been asphalted in the last 3 years will be checked. And there's a few that have been 5 years with none, so basically we're starting over, but it probably will shrink to 40,000, then maybe next year 30,000 a year on projected.
Okay, any discussion?
We've seen the letters, the correspondence, we have Steve's recommendation. I would move to extend the bid on microsurfacing and crack sealing to seal coating.
Seal coating.
Second,
A second? No, you want? I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next up, Department of Public Works request to extend bid asphalt Cardi Corporation.
It appears, Steve, that you also had the correspondence submitted from them, and that we have a recommendation from you.
That one there I had some issues with. I wasn't here last year when you awarded it. And, we were quoted a price of $61.25 a ton in place.
Correct.
And I had caught this, it was after the work was done and after it had been paved. When they did the parking lot here and the one next door, they charged us $90 a ton.
Well, that was based on a different bid altogether, on not that bid you're holding in hand. That was a
But then
previous
but
bid.
when they did the garage about a month ago, they charged us $61.25.
That's
I
the
mean,
current bid. The bid for the parking lot here was a previous bid from 3 years ago. Okay? That was a different
when
bid
I looked
completely.
at your bid specs and it
The
does-
bid specs are the same. The specifications for asphalt are the same. The work performed was different here. There was no parking lot in the previous specs. And I did correct that with the new specifications.
Yeah.
And that was also included the rescue.
Needless to say, when I looked at the amount we had budgeted, it was a little over $300,000, and they did something like that, it's not right, so.
Well, they were the lowest qualified bid. They actually were all total, the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
With the asphalt, the crack seal, the key cuts and the tack coat. When you total it up on the job, they were the lowest by a few $1,000s.
On a
Over the next highest
$300,000
bidder.
job. But he
No,
made-
this was on the job we did under the $61 price tag. The current bid.
I'd like to make a motion on this, and I'd like to put this out to bid again instead of extending it. Just to see what we get for prices, because, like I said, when I saw that in the fall, and then it just caught my eye. Like I said, I wasn't here last year when the bid was awarded, as one. So I'll put a motion out to Department of Public Works, request to go out to bid for asphalt for the 2017, 2018 fiscal year.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question. So, that isn't in our packet, right?
No, I got this the other day when I
So,
was in.
so what was the difference in price per ton?
The contract price is 61 and change, and that's what they billed on this, which, when you're giving someone $300,000 worth of work, I would think that they would honor the 61.
So it's the same material,
Same work.
and it's $30 difference a ton?
29, 28.50. The same exact thing that they just did at the Public Works garage.
Did you say, Steve, that it came from a different bid process?
It was a different bid than our current bid, correct. We're on an entirely new bid from the previous, when this parking lot here was paved, and the rescue parking lot was paved. Rescue paid for their parking lot out of that bill, which
Yeah, I
does
understand that. I
lessen
know
what
they-
we actually paid per ton.
Yeah.
So, and they also did extra work here, because asphalt had to be removed, saw cuts were made for this project that were not in our bid package at all, and they included that in the bid. In the purchase, I mean, the bid, the job. But that was an entire 2-year ago bid, and it's not the $61 bid. Our bid at that time was 65 and change per ton, plus increases for tack coat, key cuts, and then there's additional charges for the saw cuts and the asphalt removal, and that work that was done on this project here. Okay, the garage job, there was nothing but put material down and leave. And that's on our current bid of the $61. That was a different project. Right now, if you go online, the state bid, the MPA is $75 a ton for this. Now, our bid is 61 and change. We currently have the lowest bid in the state from Cardi Corporation to do this type of work. Lower than the city of Warwick, lower than the city of Providence.
So that answers your question?
Well, going out to bid is just gonna cost us another $800, whatever the advertising and time is also gonna be affected.
Well, how many other people did we get a bid from?
Probably about 9 or 10 last
2.
year. There was 2 low bidders, there was quite a few people bid
There
that
was-
last year.
Deamba,
Lynch, Narragansett Improvement, Cardi, Maiuzzi, there was a couple others in there too.
So they kind of helped us out with our extra work like you had said, and he charges for that.
they charge for the extra work.
They did charge for the extra work they did. Because he had asked him why.
So if I understand you correctly, Steve, you think that the extra labor that they had to do on the other job was incorporated
Into
more
our
so
bill.
into the price of the tonnage than,
That's how they do it, they just base it all on
I
the
see.
per ton.
you'll have to
price.
excuse me, because I'm
I understand.
I'm very ignorant when it comes to that. It just seems odd that, you know, it's $30 difference.
I understand that, but again, that was, unfortunately, that was 2 years ago, on a different bid. Our current bid is, there are no more
I
parking
mean,
lots in
that's
our
what,
work.
$8,000-9,000, right? Difference? $30 times whatever, 297 tons. So, I mean, if it was the other way around, I could understand if the bid was older and it was less money. I don't know. Why would it cost us $800 to go out to bid again?
Advertising and all that that's involved with it. Then you're gonna eat into 2 months of the construction season for the projects this year as well.
It's gonna hold up the process.
It will this year, or it could. I mean, it's gonna get us on the schedule later, that's for sure.
It's worth $800 and hold up the project, process to send it out the bid for how long?
It'd be awarded next month.
A month?
Yeah.
Yeah, next August. I mean.
We've done this 5
next
times and the
August,
same
next
company
month.
wins the bid every time. There's one, and they do the best work, okay? I don't care what anybody tells you, I can prove,
No,
right
I
in my own
understand what you're
yard.
saying. Hey, you know what? I
Their
look at the
product
flaws,
holds up.
you get what you pay for.
Their product
I
holds up.
understand. No, I understand. It's just,
So you're happy?
it's
with it?
also kind of a situation though, where don't all the individual bidders get to see what the other guy
At
bid?
the open,
At the opening,
at
yeah.
the public.
Right,
Open.
But they've
So-
already submitted their bid.
right. But-
That was last,
So my point is that if you're gonna build if you're gonna bid an X amount, and you were planning on bidding amount that was considerably lower, you could still bid something more than what you had originally done, and if you're fortunate enough to get the bid because
Could be
you're
less this
close,
year,
but
'cause
it's
oil-
less.
The oil market's steady too, so.
well, I have no problem going out to bid again, at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Do you wanna look at these?
Steve, you say the going state rate is
$75 online, MPA
This
right
is
now is 70.
61. This is 61.
Yes, 60
The whole,
and change.
I mean, I just ask, I know, I don't mean to be adversarial here, but you've heard the discussion and the conversation, so I just want to ask, do you still recommend that we extend this bid?
If I felt we were gonna save money by going out to bid again, that would have been the recommendation. But I do not feel we're gonna save money going out to bid.
That's all.
Any more discussions?
Mm-hmm.
We have
I can't necessarily say that, I know anything compared to you or Steve with regards to construction, but $30 difference a ton, whether it's been 2 years or 20 years, it's still an opportunity to save the taxpayers in the town a lot of money.
Well, it's like I said, when you're giving someone $300,000 worth of work, that was what last year's bid was 306, I think. Roughly, it's gonna be the same this year, same funding.
A little less, they're only gonna, their projected work this year is 200,000. We have 175 or so for chip, the rest for micro. I mean, not micro, but crack seal, with micro.
I feel comfortable putting it out to bid.
So is the motion on the?
Yeah, the motion's on the floor.
I'll second it, unless
Well,
you
Ray
already
seconded
seconded
it,
it.
so.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
2-2?
you seconded the motion before. Oh, never mind,
Yeah.
sorry.
We had a discussion.
I don't want to get it.
That was 2-2, motion fails. Okay. Next item on the agenda.
Move to award the, wait a minute, where are we here?
So,
To extend the bid for asphalt to the Carty Corporation based on the recommendation of Director of Public Works.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Now what do you do?
I mean, if it's like this, then, I mean, I've talked to you about it before and discussed the thing, maybe it's not time for discussion, but he asked the question, that's all.
I'll move the table, an item, and move it to next month's agenda. Perhaps it'll be 5 of us, and maybe the vote will be different. If it's not, well, then I guess we proceed differently.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda. The Department of Public Works requests to proceed to bid salt shed building and material. Where was that one at?
Yeah, it just became right here.
Are you doing one of these, polymers?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not the building currently, it's just
No,
materials.
you're gonna do the block and then they put similar to
Footing,
what they did in
foundation,
Narragansett,
floor, block, yes, similar.
what they're doing everywhere else.
Well,
How long does that poly last? What do they give?
30-year warranty.
Well, for discussion, let me do this.
Why not? Let me ask one more question.
Well, yes, but then we
Yeah, yeah.
can question.
That poly, do you plan on doing that this year, just getting the groundwork done?
Chances are no.
And then do the
That will
poly?
really truly depend on money.
Yeah.
Once I have the concrete purchased, we only had 115,000 on the equipment fund. Part of it's to pick the cabin chassis, which is coming up on the
So
agenda.
you wanna get,
I wanna get the footing, the foundation, the floor,
and then next year do the,
and the block wall up, and then we can do the,
okay,
right.
that final, go ahead.
That's why I was in phase 1 and phase 2 with the financial town meeting. on the-
Well,
the
I would
finance.
just, for discussion, I'll make the motion that we proceed to bid on the salt shed building and materials, but per the request of DPW director on that shed.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Did you have a question?
No, that was the only question I had on that poly, I wasn't sure if they were giving it for warranty.
This is, the purpose is to upgrade what you've got now to make road, what is the purpose?
The current salt storage facility that we have is small, and 2 storms and it's empty.
So you wish to expand? So
I wish to have it big enough so that, so that we can last most of the season between the old shed and the new shed. And/or have enough salt on hand for 3 seasons.
So my question, you wish to expand what you have?
Expand the size of the facility to better serve the public.
Would that allow, may I ask a question?
Yep.
Would that allow us to buy more salt, Steve, so we
Yes.
get it at a less expensive tonnage?
It won't change the price per ton.
Yeah,
What it will do is if, say we have excess funds and we know we had an easier winter, 'cause sometimes we do have a decent winter. Sometimes we have a very low expense winter. We'll be able to take some of those funds and apply it to salt and put it in storage. That will offset the cost of the following year. And then after a few years of this, hopefully your buildings have enough capacity, that's why the bigger building, so that you'll have, as the salt price increases, we have some storage on hand. That doesn't hurt us so bad if we do have that big winter like we did a few years ago. And we ran out of salt, we had none for a month. They wouldn't deliver. So this alleviates that problem, material on hand, and not have to worry if the state runs out of salt again. So that's really all the purposes of it, so that we do not have this problem in the future.
We discussed this a while back.
Right?
and it seems like the state's been worried about that ever since we had that bad season years ago.
They currently have on hand enough salt for next winter, before they purchase. They've done the same thing with our money a few years ago.
Okay, so you made a motion,
And
Kevin?
then,
Ray seconded, someone
Ray-
second?
I second, yes, I did.
Okay, all in favor?